Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
And welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show here on WKYC. Thanks for spending time with us. This is the last Friday 12:30 show before Christmas. I'm Jay Crawford. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk all things Cleveland sports. We will tell you who will win down in Cincinnati, the Browns and the Bengals on Sunday. It's our pre-written headlines. Bull.
I'm Adam the Bull, and Jerry Jeudy claims to be excited that DTR is the new starting quarterback for the Browns, but he put up the best numbers of his career with Jameis Winston. Is he telling the truth? G.
I'm G. Bush, leader of the Kool-Aid Mafia. We will let you know whether it's more important to stop the Bengals from going to the playoffs or losing and get a higher draft pick. Jason?
I'm Jason Lloyd. It's been a long time since we saw Max Strus. He'll be back on the floor, hopefully at some point this week, and the Cavs have 3 home games tonight. We're going to talk about his impact and whether or not he could be the missing piece. Do you have a missing piece if you got the best record of the NBA?
I don't know.
We'll decide. Mikey.
I kind of like the nickname McJason.
McJason?
Yeah,
Yeah, McJason could work. I talked to Sean King, who played quarterback at the NFL level. We broke down Jameis's interceptions against the Chiefs. It may be our last Sean King breakdown of the season, and I think the Browns have defeated Sean King. I'm just going to give you a little preview right now. Sean's in a dark place.
Yeah, he's a broken man. He is definitely a broken man.
It goes down.
All right, we're going to
Welcome
get
to
to all of that
Cleveland,
stuff.
Sean.
Yeah, it took him exactly 4 months
to
feel the beatdown of being a Brown. All right, we're going to talk about the game and its importance. Obviously, it's very important for the Bengals. They still have a path to the playoffs. The Browns, it's actually better for them as an organization if they lose this game because they can hurt their draft choice if they go on and win a few more games. All of that being said, this boils down to the Super Bowl. The Browns have beaten the Ravens. They've beaten the Steelers. They lost to the Bengals in their first game, so this would be their only shot at beating the Bengals. How much would it mean to Cleveland? Bull, we can start with you, and I know that you've got a different perspective on this, but what would it mean to the Browns if they could end the Bengals season?
Obviously, the players want to win, and I think as a fan, it's easy to say on Friday, well, we know rationally it's better for the franchise if the Browns lose. But there is something to be said about a 3-win season and the psyche, your psyche being damaged by that. And I think even as a fan where you want to get a high pick, when you're watching the game, you can't. It's impossible to root for your team to lose. So I think the players want to win. And while a lot of people will say, and it is true that it's better for them to lose, I think the fans watching the game are all going to be rooting for the Browns to win and spoil the Bengals' chances.
That's how I watch.
Yeah.
From 1 to 4, I'm rooting like
That's
hell
right.
for them. But at 4 o'clock, I'm like, well, the silver lining is.
That's right.
Jay, what do you think?
Exactly.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but to me, there's no difference in a 3-win team and a 4-win team in January, February, and March. They're better off losing the game. And you're not going to play that way. Coaches don't coach that way. Players don't play that way. But ultimately, for the betterment of the franchise, do you want to be picking 3rd? Do you want to be picking 9th? And as tightly bunched as these teams are right now, they need to lose the game. It's just the reality of it. Doesn't mean you want them to. Doesn't mean you root for them to. Doesn't mean the players are throwing the game. They're not. But when you get to the draft, you're going to feel a lot better about your opportunity to get a quarterback or to do something if you're picking 3rd rather than if you're picking 9th.
Yeah, there's too many holes, man. Too many holes on this roster. Too many holes on the team. Too many needs. You quarterbacks, defensive end, DBs, JOK. We don't know what's going on with him. Look, you're 3 and something. Only reason to be watching this game is to see if DTR got something. If DTR can get, amp you up a little bit, you got 3 more games to watch him, and maybe he can be in the fold going into next year as maybe a potential bridge starting type quarterback or something like that. Other than that, I get no enjoyment out of the Bengals. First of all, Bengals ain't that good to start with. Like, I can understand if we beat the Chiefs last week, great. Look, they're 12-1. That can show me something. This is the Bengals. They're playing at home. A bunch of people is hurt. This means nothing. Take that L.
Yeah, I like I said earlier, from 1 to 4, win.
Yeah.
At 4 o'clock when the game's over and they've got fewer points, I'll say, okay, good.
Yeah.
That's you just do the mental gymnastics to get there however you can.
Yeah.
But I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't be fist pumping if we could end the Bengals
Yeah,
season.
sure.
They're
How
a
could you
rival.
not be?
This game really used to mean something once upon a time. It doesn't now, but it'd be interesting if we could end their season.
By the way, one thing to note for the draft pick, obviously the higher you want as high a pick as possible to draft a player, but there's also another angle of this. And again, this is a long way down the road, but a lot of people think, and I mentioned this briefly yesterday, that in the 2026 draft, that Arch Manning and what's Tennessee's quarterback's name? I can't think of it.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah, moving
Imealeva.
forward. Yeah.
That those two guys are like the next great quarterbacks.
They would be worth tanking for.
And the thought is, if the Browns end up with the 3rd, 4th pick in the draft, maybe they trade down a few spots and get themselves a second first-round pick next year, where they're either bad and can get that pick, or maybe you have the ammunition to trade up again.
I said last week on the YouTube show, solving the quarterback issue very well could be an 18-month problem.
Yes.
There's no guarantee that the Browns.
No.
In fact, I think it's more likely that they don't come up with the answer this offseason. I think it's more likely they don't.
Yeah, you're being
Agreed.
optimistic with
Yeah.
18 months. I think.
It's been 10 years, so 18 months is pretty optimistic.
Yeah.
It's been
I would
25
do 18
years.
months in purgatory again. If I
It's
had
been
to.
25 years, but I think they're going to solve it in the next 18 months.
Yeah, good luck. All right, this is fascinating. Jerry Jeudy is having a career year. Yesterday it came out that the Jets helped us immensely when their owner, Woody Johnson, allegedly passed on trading for Jerry Jeudy because his boys said he didn't have a good Madden rating. Phenomenal. That's a story. That's a Brownsian story, if there
really
ever
is.
was one. I'm glad to hear that it happened to somebody else. Having a career year, he was having that year with Jameis Winston. Jerry said this week, I'm happy that DTR is the quarterback. You buying that?
No. Because, DTR is not as good as Jameis Winston. And Jameis, because he's a gunslinger, and he'll throw picks, but that means they're going to keep throwing because they got to try to come back. So, Jameis, every week we expected him to throw for a ton of yards. What did we all say about DTR? We all said about 175 yards. Now, I still think Jerry Jeudy can have 75, 80 yards playing with DTR because he's the number one target. But, no, if I'm Jerry Jeudy, I would rather Jameis be playing.
Of course. He's going to say all the right things.
Yeah, right.
But ultimately, I don't know that he really needs to be all that upset. He's already gotten paid. If he was in a contract year, I'd understand being a little aggravated or upset by it. He already got his money, and he's already got a 1,000-yard season. So there's nothing else for him personally to accomplish other than to run up the toll on his final yardage number. So, and I'm sure he realizes for the betterment of if he's committed to Cleveland for right now, like he signed the contract, see what the kid's got so that the organization knows going forward. I don't know what else there is for him on a personal level to play for.
Mike thinks he could be an all-pro, which is not true, but Mike thinks that.
I don't think so.
I said he was in the conversation.
I don't think
to
he is.
potentially be an
I did.
all-pro.
That is a fabrication. He did say he was in the conversation. I'll come to your credit.
Yeah, he did. He didn't
Thank
say
you,
he was
G.
an all-pro.
Now,
I don't believe he's in the conversation.
How deep does the all-pro conversation go? 4?
There's 4, yeah.
Well, 4
Okay.
make it, so you're in the conversation. You're
So-
top 6, 7.
Yeah. And
So-
I think he is in the top 6,
honorable
7.
mention. That's what they have that for.
Yeah, but-
Shout out to Jerry Jeudy because a lot of people was hating on this move. A lot of people didn't like the move of Jerry Jeudy. They thought he was a number 2. There's a lot of people that said that he was not that good. He was inconsistent. Dropped a lot of footballs.
Well, that's
from
all
Denver.
true.
He's inconsistent, not that good.
Well, not
Now-
this year, but he was before this year.
I said, well, here's the great thing. When you have a year like this, you shut people up.
Yeah,
you be
that's
like,
true.
yeah, hi, guys. I went to Denver and smoked you. I like when people can talk trash. And by the way, when you feeling good about yourself and you've been balling, he's like, listen, I'm the number 1 receiver. DTR ain't got nobody else to throw it to. Push come to shove, where you going to throw it?
Yeah, but neither did Deshaun.
Well, that's a whole other story.
That's true.
And I went back, and first of all, I think you're right, Jay.
Although he had Amari Cooper
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how'd that work out?
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think he's paid. If this was a year where he was in a contract, or if he had a big escalator for being all-pro, you'd be like, whoa. That's like, sitting a guy that's about to hit his at-bat incentive.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't mess with that. You're messing with the guy's money. He's got his money, so I think he's good. But I did some numbers. This is unbelievable to me. I think it's a huge indictment on Deshaun Watson, but it also brings up other questions, I think, about Jerry Jeudy. 7 games with Deshaun Watson as the starter. He averaged 3 catches and 38 yards a game. This is for the guy that we brought in to replace Amari as our new number 1. He had 1 total touchdown. 7 games with Jameis Winston as the starter. Again, 3 and 38. 7 catches a game, 112 yards a game, average. He tripled his yardage per game. More than doubled his catches. He scored 3 touchdowns. So he's a bit of an enigma, Jerry Jeudy. He wasn't great when he was in Denver. He showed flashes of brilliance. He's shown flashes of brilliance here. I think what it tells me more than anything is you have to have a quarterback that's willing to push the ball to your number 1 even when it's a tight window. Jameis had the kind of arm that he could do that.
Well, Jameis was the first adequate quarterback he's played with, to be fair to him. I mean, he played with terrible quarterbacks in Denver, except for Russell Wilson, who was adequate last year, and he didn't have a good year with Russell Wilson. Deshaun Watson's the worst quarterback in the league, so he struggled with him.
3 and 38 with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
You know what you did? You did something Texas courts couldn't do. You got an indictment on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And you can indict a ham sandwich. You can. Oh, well. Jerry, we hope you continue the success. I do think that he could still have a big game tomorrow because Cincinnati's pass defense is probably slightly better than if the 4 of us would put on uniforms and go, no, I'm
Mike,
kidding.
by the way, what's the argument? So who is he getting in over as the 4th
He didn't say he was getting in over anyone. He just said he's in the conversation.
Who's the argument against?
So the top 4 guys right now would
You're
be
giving
Jamar,
one statistic.
Jamar
just
Chase,
yardage.
Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Right now, today, those are your 4
Right, he's got no argument against any of those guys.
I'm not making the argument, Bull. He's now 5th in yardage, so he'd be in the conversation for that next tier, the honorable mention list, with guys like Jackson Smith and Jigba, who has less yards but 1 more touchdown. Terry McLaurin, he has more yards than but fewer touchdowns. He's tied with Brock Bowers, who's a tight end, different position.
Yeah.
Ladd McConkey and Brian Thomas Jr. have fewer yards, slightly more touchdowns. And then Garrett Wilson, who has 1 more touchdown but 100 fewer yards.
And a lot of those guys are on winning teams, Mike.
Winning teams does not make a
Mike's
difference.
right. Mike's
All-Pro.
No,
He's
he's
in the
in the
mix.
conversation.
He's in the
I agree
conversation.
with
You took
Mike.
that L.
No.
Here's
That's
the
a
deal.
Second.
That's a huge L.
The All-Pro is top 4.
Yes.
Yes.
He just said
He
the
just-
top 4, but he's in the honorable
He
mention.
He
on
didn't
all
say
that.
he's in the top 4. He said he's in the conversation. And
He
here's
said
why-
he's in the conversation for an All-Pro.
Yes.
To be in the conversation for All-Pro, you have to reach the top 4. There's no argument for him being in the
No,
top
to
4.
didn't
win,
say
you
he's
have to be
going
in the
to
top
be.
4.
He
To
didn't-
win, you have to
yeah.
be in the top.
He has 3 more games.
All the guys you mentioned, none of those guys are going to be All-Pro.
Correct.
No,
He
but they're
said
all
who
in the
the 4 are.
conversation.
No, they're not.
And here's why.
Question for the panel. How do you spell bull? Does it have 1 L, or do you have to hold 2 L's to spell bull?
There is no argument. He's
Shout out
not
to-
in the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the conversation.
Well,
Amon-Ra
I'll make
St.
the
Brown
argument for
is
you.
the 4th
I'll make the
All-Pro.
argument for you right now.
There's no argument.
Half of his season, he played with
Irrelevant.
a quarterback. No,
Irrelevant.
it's not irrelevant.
It's completely irrelevant.
Half of his season,
Yeah.
he played with a quarterback who wasn't just bad this year.
Yeah.
He was so bad, we were mentioning his name as historically bad all
Irrelevant.
time. Jason, you
Irrelevant.
had some metrics that showed he was bottom 2
It's
or
irrelevant.
3.
Yeah.
He's
But
not
I
gonna-
mean,
For the last 10 years.
Bull's right on that. That's not going
there's
to.
no argument
You're
for
not
it.
going to
No, but
curry
you have
points
to
because of
think
that.
about that.
You're not thinking about
but
it.
Listen,
record
he's
has
not
nothing
going
to do
to
with it
be.
either.
He's not
Can I
going to
ask
be
No
all
all.
the
argument.
question?
If you
There's-
want to say he's in the discussion for All-Pro alternate, I don't even know if there's such a thing.
May I ask one more question?
3rd round,
Yeah, ask-
okay, I'll
ask-
give you
ask-
that, but
ask-
he's not.
Ask away.
Just a yes or no question for G. Bush. Is this a conversation show?
Yes.
Is
Yes, it
Jerry
is.
Jeudy being mentioned in a conversation about all-pro receivers
Because
right
you
now?
said he belonged in
Yes.
the conversation.
So Jerry
I say he
Jeudy-
did.
Okay,
By fact
show
of
of
the
hands.
matter-
Does he belong in the conversation?
You're all wrong.
You've
Well,
been
he's-
voted off the island.
What's his argument against Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Nobody is saying he's going to win, but anytime
No, he
you
won't
have,
win. I'll say
anytime you
defeat.
have like Coach of the Year voting or MVP voting,
Yeah.
you've got the winners, and then you've got everybody
But
else.
he's not in the
He's
discussion.
in the everybody else.
Nobody that's voting for that is discussing him. None.
How do you
There's
know
no
that?
consideration.
How do
If
you
you
know that?
extrapolate
Because
his
what's his
numbers-
argument against Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Well, there is no argument.
Exactly. And
Well, yeah,
Amon-Ra
there
St.
is.
Brown is last.
No.
You don't have to argue against somebody to say somebody else is in the
He's
mix.
not in the discussion with the top 4 guys. He's not.
So he's fifth in yards, but he's not in the discussion.
No, because the top 4 is clear.
Nobody's saying he should win.
He's
Nobody's
5th in
saying
yards,
that.
and he has like 3
How many-
touchdowns.
If you take his averages with Winston and take them for the
That's
first 7
irrelevant,
games,
Jay.
he's
Nobody's
got
considering
1,600 1,600 yards receiving.
Irrelevant.
1,600 yards
It's
receiving. You're in the
irrelevant. Nobody
conversation.
But he
cares
doesn't
about
have
that.
1,600.
What is
No,
Amon
but I'm
St.
just
Brown?
saying,
What is
it's not
Amon
his
St.
fault,
Brown's
Jameis.
numbers? Amon St. Brown have what is his numbers?
He has 25 more catches than Jeudy.
Okay.
He has 4 more yards, a much lower yards per catch average.
Okay.
He has 10 touchdowns, which
I mean,
is tough
stop
to
it.
argue.
He has 10 touchdowns,
No,
but he
that's
has 4
great.
more. That's nice.
But I'm still saying
Stop
that
it.
if Jameis was the quarterback for the first 7 games, he would be right there.
No,
His
he
numbers would be right there.
He had 3 touchdowns
He'd
in
be
7
leading
games with
he'd be
Jameis.
leading the
He'd
league
be
in
on pace.
yards.
He'd be. Who cares? You can go anybody like that.
So
Let's
he'd
go
be
to a
leading
wide
the league in
receiver who
catches.
played. That,
He'd be
that
leading the league in
Nick
catches.
Chubb was on his way to be an MVP at running
Jerry
back last
Jeudy,
year. That
we
one
see
game
you.
was huge.
Keep balling. Keep balling.
Nobody's
You got 3 more
factoring in.
games.
Here's the problem. Now with Jameis out, those numbers are going to regress. Big time.
If he put 200 up, now you want
Jerry
now
Judy's having a hell of a season. He's
you
going to be
make
a
me-
Pro Bowler.
You make me want to now say that the Browns are going to win, but I can't even do that.
Yeah, don't go there.
Jerry
Don't go there.
Jeudy
Settle down.
is having a hell of a season. He belongs in the Pro Bowl conversation. He will be a Pro Bowler because many of the good wide receivers, top guys, are in the NFC. He belongs as a Pro Bowler. He has earned that. He's doing well. There's no argument for him over any of the top 4 guys. None whatsoever. You know that, Mike.
None of us will make it, but we all agree that he should be mentioned in the conversation.
No.
Otherwise, you just
If you
name
can't
the
make an
4 that are gonna
argument
make
for,
it.
if you can't make an argument for him as a top 4,
I made one.
season.
I made one. He played half the season with the historically worst
That
quarterback.
That doesn't get you in the
That
top
doesn't
4.
get you.
Right, it gets him. No, it doesn't get him in the top 4. I'm not making, but what I'm saying is, if I think he's in the conversation as one of the best
CD
receivers.
Lamb
in football.
the Cowboys have had terrible quarterback play this year.
Yeah, I know.
Keep
He's in the
balling.
conversation
Should
too.
should we say what would his numbers be if Dak
No,
Prescott was as good
no,
as last year?
But I'll throw CD Lamb in the conversation.
No, CD Lamb is in there. He's
Yeah.
a top
in.
4 guy.
Okay.
He has excelled even with crappy quarterbacks.
And is Jameis Winston a crappy quarterback?
No, he's average.
Okay. You want to go to Sean King now?
Yeah, we still have to do Sean
You
King.
said this might be
We'll
his
cut the
last
rest.
one. I hope not. I hope he comes back next week and tells us what we're seeing with DTR.
Hey,
He's the quarterback whisperer.
Sean might be a broken man. Steve, play the package. I'll let him do all the talking.
All right, we're back. We're talking Cavs. Max Strus ready to go. Is he going to play tonight? Do we know definitively that he's playing tonight, Mikey?
He's questionable tonight, game time decision.
All right, we hope to see him.
He's
But
going to play sometime this
the
weekend.
big question is, we know he's close. He hasn't played this year because of the ankle. The big question is he going to markedly or even at all improve this Cavaliers team, which currently has the best record in the NBA?
If he grew 5 inches while he was out,
I don't think
maybe.
he did.
Listen, he's a good player. He's going to help. Like, you want more good players than not, and he fit exactly what they needed last year, which is why they went and got him. I still like Dean Wade in the starting lineup at that 3. I think you can find a backup big on the market a little bit cheaper rather than trying to upgrade that 3 position. I like Max actually in a bench role. I don't know that they're going to go that way. But he's going to help just because he's another quality player to add to the rotation. Yeah. You can't never have too many of those.
You know, we've been talking a lot about the Cavs trying to find one player to trade for one player. And I was reading a rumor today that maybe what the Cavs are going to have to do, because they have so much depth, and they're playing 10, 11 guys without Strus. You're not going to do that in the playoffs. You're going to play 8 guys, maybe 9 at the most. Maybe the answer is for the Cavs, even though the team's great right now and you maybe don't want to mess with chemistry, I don't know. The idea is to trade 2 or even 3 players to get one much better player. I don't know if that's possible.
It's hard to make that trade in the NBA because of the position that the Cavs are in now.
You have to make the money work.
You have to make the money work. Teams that are trading big dollar guys don't necessarily want your big dollar guys back or mid-level guys back. So it's a tricky spot to be in. We've talked about it at length. I'm fascinated to see what they do with
There are
deadline.
teams, though, that are trying to dump salaries.
Yeah, they are.
And it might be one of those.
Yeah. Strus, I think Strus is better coming off the bench. Like Jason said, listen, you want good players. He can shoot from the outside. His problem is he's not 6'7", 6'8", and he's not long. So I think that Isaac Okoro being out will give him an opportunity to show what he can do and get back.
That's the thing with the NBA. There's always an injury. There's always an injury.
That's true. I like your idea, though. If you're only going to play 8 in the playoffs, you might suffer for it in the regular season with not having the depth. But everything the Cavs do needs to be for one purpose.
Yeah.
Does it help us beat Boston?
That's it.
That's it. All right, we're going to take a break. Pre-written headlines. Who wins Sunday down in Cincinnati? Browns or Bengals? That's next. Time for pre-written headlines. We always make the Guy with the newspaper background go first. Jason, what do you got?
I'm out of creativity this week. Dead on arrival, baby. Browns are DOA in DTR's first start. Miserable season can't end soon enough. 27-10 lost to the Bengals. I got him with one touchdown this week.
That's
it.
really close to my score.
Yeah.
I like what you did there, DOA, DTR.
DOA, DTR.
All right, here's mine. I think we're going to be a clean sweep, by the way. I'm pretty sure the Bengals, everybody's going to pick the Bengals. Bengals claw DTR, 34-10. So I have Cincinnati actually scoring one more touchdown than you, Jay, for 12th loss of the season.
Man.
Bull.
I'm up. Go ahead,
up.
Mike. Let's see it. DTINT. DTR throws 3 picks as Burrow and Bengals rout Browns 37-7.
Why didn't you go DTRINT?
I don't know.
I guess you wanted to save the Robinson
Like the
family
INT
name.
was replacing the R.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes it
Man.
works, sometimes it don't.
A third L of the day.
Man,
G, you're up.
Hey, the creativity is out of here usually. Man. Let's get to it, man. What I don't even know what I put. Throw it up there. Burrow and the Bengals survive a barrage. DTR cooking early, but the kitchen closed late in a 23-20 loss. I take that back. That was cold. I got the best line. Go ahead, McNugget.
I like that you think it's going to be close. It's so cute.
And then I had, for the first time, it's a clean sweep again. I had burrowed into the AFC basement. Bengals sweep the Browns for the first time in the Stefanski era. Browns clinch last place in the AFC.
Okay, that's creative. I like that. Burrowed into the AFC basement.
All right, that also helps with their schedule next year to be in last place.
It does.
Yeah, let's go. Bring it on. We love last place. We do last like no one else. All right, that's it. Have a wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas if that's
Merry
what
Christmas.
you celebrate.
See ya.
And we will see you Sunday after the game.
Peace.